Alrighty, folks, welcome to Sports Picks today for Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024. Do you know I'm feeling great on a Tuesday morning? Because we're now 4-0 in our last four underdog tier package picks on my premium site. And I'll explain a little bit more about that in just a moment. But before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick time out and once again welcome you to Sports Picks today for Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024. Happy Tuesday to you. Hopefully you had a great start to your week. Of course, my name is Brock Page. I've been dishing out free sports picks right here on YouTube since 2016. And if you want to see which one of these free plays on these videos that I actually like the best, you may want to think about signing up for my underdog tier package pick on my premium site. It costs just $4.99 for 30 days of service. The math works out to be just 16 cents a day. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. So basically, you're going to receive 2 to 3 premium selections every single day for the next 30 days for just 16 cents a day. And you may be wondering what the difference is between what I do here on the free videos and what I do on my premium site. Well, what I do here on the free videos is I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side and total. What I do on my premium site is, well, I actually share with you which one of these free plays on these videos that I actually like the best. And of course, got to give a quick shout out to all of my chairman members because they cashed in on 5 games on my premium site yesterday. We had the Red Sox, Yankees, Suns, Grizzlies, and we also hit on a 2-team parlay. And the only way you could have accessed all of those winners is to join my full access, all-inclusive chairman package. Chairman members get access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you also get access to my Chairman podcast absolutely free. It's included with your purchase. I'm 8-2 in my last 10 daily best plays, 4-0 in my last 4 underdog tier package picks. And finally, folks, we are 6-1 on my last 7 NBA tier package plays. And the good news is we've got picks going off in all of those packages here today, and they're all included with your purchase of the Chairman membership. I currently have over 1,405 members who are signed up at and active on my premium site right now. And once again, the site is patreon.com/BrockPage. And with that, folks, we're going to dive into some free content. We're going to start off with that Twins-Brewers game. That'll be a 4:10 Eastern first pitch. Both teams are minus $1.10, totals 8.5. Jake Junis for Milwaukee, Louis Varland for Minnesota. Now, Louis did allow his fair share of runs with the Twins last season. He appeared in 17 games and finished with an ERA of 4.63. And as far as spring training is concerned, well, those outings were disastrous as well. Louis started 5 games and allowed 3 home runs and 14 earned runs in the spring. And even if he does throw well here today, the Twins may not give him, run support. They played 3 games with Kansas City to open up the year, and they scored only 9 total runs in those contests. Ed Julian went just 2 for 10 with a couple of strikeouts. Santana and Correa, they've yet to touch home plate. And they're going to have to face Jake Junis, who's coming off the best season of his career, stat-wise at least. Junis had a 3.87 ERA with San Francisco, and he mainly came out of the bullpen with a couple of spot starts. And I'll tell you what, these Milwaukee pitchers, they've done a nice job. They did a nice job with the Mets over the weekend. They held New York to just 8 total runs through 3 games. Christian Yelich, he's 5 for 11 with a couple of RBI. Churio, Contreras, and Churang, they all have 5 hits apiece themselves. Now, injury-wise, Royce Lewis is still inactive for the Twins. He strained his quad running the bases over the weekend. Give me Milwaukee minus $1.10, over 8.5. All right, next matchup, Royals O's, 6:35 Eastern first pitch. Baltimore's minus $1.65. Total's 8.5. Cole Irvin for Baltimore. Alec Marsh for Kansas City. And even though Marsh finished with a decent ERA in spring training, he did allow 3 home runs and walked 7 batters. And the reason why his whip was so respectable was because of his strikeout total. He registered a handful of appearances last year with Kansas City, and he went just 3-9 on the year and finished with an ERA in the 5s. Now, a big problem with KC over the past couple of seasons, it's been run production at the plate. These guys simply don't hit. The Royals have lost 3 of 4 to start the year, and they averaged under 2.1 runs a game in those losses. Vinny Pasquantino, he's just 2 for 14, and he's yet to record an extra base hit. Michael Garcia, he's also just 3 for 16, and he struck out 5 times already. They're going to have to face Cole Irvin here today, who, don't get me wrong, he's had no command over his fastball or really any other pitch for that matter. Irvin walked 13 batters in spring, and he hit 2 of them as well. But I think the X factor in this one is going to be this powerful O's lineup of hitters. They've scored 31 total runs through 4 games to start the year, and they do have a handful of guys hitting 300 or better already. Ryan Mountcastle is 6 for 14 with 7 RBI. Rutschman and Henderson, they're batting .357 respectively, and they can certainly hit for power. Now, injury-wise, Michael Massey is still in the IL for Kansas City, battling some back issues. Give me Baltimore minus 165, under 8.5. Next matchup, Guardians-Mariners, 9:40 p.m. East. Seattle's minus $1.25 at home, total 7. Luis Castillo for Seattle, Shane Bieber for Cleveland. Now, Bieber threw 6 shutout innings in the opener, and he struck out 11 batters. Bieber officially got the W, and he now has a whip of .83. And I'll tell you what, these Cleveland pitchers, they've done a nice job this year. They're allowing just 3.2 runs a game. And that's certainly enough for this lineup because Cleveland's been pounding the baseball. The Guardians scored 33 total runs through 5 ball games, and they're led by a healthy Josh Naylor, who's 6 for 16 with 3 runs scored. Meanwhile, Andres Jimenez, he has 6 hits on the year with 6 runs scored. And they're facing Luis Castillo, who had an uncharacteristic opening day start. He gave up 4 runs on 6 hits in just 5 innings of work. And because of that, not only did he take the loss, he currently has an ERA in the 7s. And at the plate, the Mariners really haven't been overly impressive to start the year. They're averaging under 3.1 runs a game through 5 contests. Urias is 0 for 8, Canzone 1 for 12, Crawford 2 for 19, Polanco 2 for 18, Raleigh 2 for 13, and Raley just 2 for 11. I think that lineup's going to struggle with Bieber here today. Give me Cleveland plus 105, under 7. And with that, we're going to jump into some NBA action. Lakers, Raptors, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. The LA Lakers are minus 12, totals 232. And even though the Lakers are rightfully favored in this spot here, don't be surprised if you see some line movement before tip-off. Both LeBron and AD are both listed as questionable. So even if one of those guys gets scratched, I think you'll see a bit of an overreaction from the public. You'll probably see that number move downward, and that is not what we want to see because we are leaning toward Toronto in this one. They covered recently against the likes of Washington and Denver, and when it comes to defensive play, they don't put a whole lot of guys to the foul line. Toronto's in the top 5 in the league in free throws allowed per game, and as bad as they've seemingly been on offense, well, they do a nice job of spreading it around and getting people involved. They're in the top 5 in the league in assists per game. And that certainly can work against this Laker team because LA's got a losing record on the road this year, and they've played some pretty terrible defense in their travels. LA's giving up 122 points a game away from home, and they really don't rebound well on the road either. The Lakers are a bottom 3 defensive rebounding team on the road in the West, and a lot of those points, they're giving up early. Kind of slow starters. LA's allowing more first quarter points away from home than any other roster in the league right now. But it ain't just defensive issues for the Lakers. These guys do have a couple problem areas on offense as well. For one, they're little threat shooting the long ball. They're actually a bottom 5 3-point making team in the West. And because of that, they're having problems scoring points late. The Lakers are a bottom 10 point producing team in the second half on the road. Now, injury-wise, once again, LeBron and Anthony Davis, they're both questionable for Los Angeles. Wood, Vanderbilt, Reddish, and Castleton still inactive. Meanwhile, for the Raptors on the other side, Pirtle, Boucher, Trent, Barnes, and Agbaji are out for them. Carton and Porter are day-to-day. When it comes to the total, the Raptors saw overs recently against the likes of Philadelphia, New York, and Denver. Meanwhile, the Lakers are 22-14 of the over in their travels. Give me Toronto plus 12 over 232. Next game, Bucks, Wizards, 7 o'clock Eastern start time. Milwaukee's minus 12.5, totals 228 and a hook. Now, the Bucks should be able to score about 150 points here today against Washington. They're getting to the foul line more times a game than any other roster in the NBA. They're also making nearly 15 three-pointers per contest as well. And I'll tell you what, the Wizards are allowing more field goals a game than any other roster in basketball. And they're probably going to have their hands full with Giannis here today because he's scoring over 30.5 points a game, and he makes 61% of his field goals. Malik Beasley's knocking down 42% of his three-pointers, and even in the rare instance Milwaukee misses a shot, they tend to get it right back. They're a top 10 offensive rebounding team. And unfortunately for Washington, they're currently the worst defensive rebounding team in the NBA. Needless to say, Washington allows a league-high 123 points per contest. But it ain't just defensive woes that's plagued these guys. They've got a lot of problems on offense as well. Washington's currently the worst three-point shooting team in the game. They're also averaging just 15 made free throws a game as well. They're in the bottom 3 in that category. Now, one more thing to add here about Washington. Out of 37 contests in the nation's capital, they took the loss in all of those home games except for 6. Now, injury-wise, Holmes, Shamet, and Omorie are questionable. Jones and Kuzma are out. Meanwhile, for the Bucks on the other side, Dame Lillard sitting this one out with a groin injury. And when it comes to the injury list, Milwaukee saw overs in 6 out of their last 10. They've also averaged over 120 points a game in their last 10 meetings with Washington. Now, the Wizards went 60% to the over in their last 10 themselves. Give me Milwaukee minus 12.5, over 228 and a hook. Next game, Knicks, Heat, 7:30 East. Miami's minus 3 at home, totals 207.5. Now, it does feel like Miami is going to have a tough time scoring against New York in this one. They're a bottom 5 point producing team in the NBA. They're also averaging fewer fourth quarter points than any other roster besides one. And a reason for all that is due to their shooting. The Heat's a bottom 3 field goal making team. And aside from missing it a lot, well, they tend to not get it back. They're a bottom 5 offensive rebounding team in the East. And that's certainly bad news for them because the Knicks have been impossible to shoot against this season. They have the lowest defensive field goal percentage in the Eastern Conference. And because of that, they're allowing fewer points a game than any other roster in the East as well. Now, in these teams' last 10 head-to-head gatherings, the Knicks have made things very uncomfortable for Miami. They held the Heat to just 105 points a game in those meetings. So if you're into historical trends, you certainly want to think about that one there. And even though the Knicks aren't known for their offensive prowess, there are a couple of bright spots for them on the offensive end of the court. For one, they don't really turn it over a whole lot. And number 2, they rebound quite well. They're in the top 5 in offensive boards per game. Isaiah Hartenstein grabs over 8 rebounds a night, 63% shooting from the field. And Jalen Brunson averages a team-high 27 points a game himself. Now, injury-wise, Randall and Anunoby are still inactive. Mitchell Robinson's day-to-day. Meanwhile, for Miami on the other side, Tyler Hero is out for them. Now, total-wise, 6 out of the Heat's last 10 outings did stay under the total. New York saw unders recently against the likes of the Nets, Kings, and Blazers. Give me New York +3, under 207.5. Next matchup, Thunder, Sixers, 7:30 Eastern tip-off. Oklahoma City's -5, totals 224. Now, OKC continues to play well. Out of their last 9 outings, they got the W in all of those except for 2. When it comes to offensive production, they're averaging over 120 points a game, and they're currently the best three-point shooting team in the NBA. Jalen Williams makes over 43% of his long balls. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander averages 30 points a night. But I'll tell you what, it ain't just offense in OKC. These guys are tough to shoot the basketball against. OKC's in the top 3 in the league in defensive field goal percentage. And they're definitely facing a Philly team who lost 5 out of their last 7 and continues to struggle on offense. The Sixers are a bottom 5 field goal shooting team at home. They're also making just 11 three-pointers a game on average. They're in the bottom 10 in that particular category. And I'll tell you what, even though defense has been the strong suit of this organization this year, there's still a few problem areas that you may want to think about. For one, the Sixers struggle grabbing boards at home. They're a bottom 5 defensive rebounding team at home in the East. They're also putting just way too many people to the foul line. They're in the bottom 5 in the entire league in free throws allowed per game. Now, injury-wise, Embiid's still out. Maxi's questionable. When it comes to the total, Philadelphia went 60% to the under in their last 10. Meanwhile, OKC saw unders recently against the likes of the Bucks, Raptors, and Jazz. Give me OKC -5, under 224. Next contest, Rockets, T-Wolves, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Minnesota's -7.5, totals 215. Now, the T-Wolves covered in 7 out of their last 9. They are the toughest team in the NBA to score against. They're allowing just 102 points a game at home, and they're limiting their opponents to just 42% shooting from the field in the target center. Anthony Edwards leads the roster in steals. Rudy Gobert's got the most blocks. And even though Minnesota's defensive play gets most of the attention, it's been their offensive effort that's also had a few bright spots. For one, this is a dangerous three-point shooting team. These guys are in the top 5 in the league in offensive three-point percentage. And because of that, they're also a top 10 field goal shooting team as well. Rudy Gobert is making 65% of his field goals this year. Anthony Edwards averages the most points. And they're facing a Houston team who really does travel poorly. The Rockets are the worst three-point shooting team on the road in the NBA. And out of 36 ball games away from the Toyota Center, the Rockets got the W only a dozen times. Now, one more thing to add here. In recent gatherings with the Rockets, in recent gatherings between these two teams, the Rockets have been getting shellacked. They took the loss in 9 out of their last 10 contests against Minnesota, and they allowed over 121 points a night. Now, injury-wise, Sengun's still out for Houston. Towns and Clark inactive for Minnesota. When it comes to the total, Minnesota saw overs against the likes of the Warriors, Clippers, and Lakers. Meanwhile, Houston went 7-2 to the over in their last 9. Give me Minnesota -7.5, over 215. Next matchup, Cavs, Jazz, 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Cleveland's -13, totals 217. And as good as Cleveland's been, this is an absurdly large number. And I'll tell you what, Utah's been more than serviceable at home. The Jazz currently have a .643 win percentage in their out-of-conference home games. They're also out-rebounding pretty much everybody. They're grabbing more offensive boards per night on their home court than any other roster in the NBA besides one. Now, on the defensive side of things, Utah is a top 3 defensive rebounding team at home in the West. Walker Kessler snags over 7.5 rebounds a game, 65% shooting from the field. And when it comes to point production, Utah's a top 5 scoring team at home in the West. And they're facing a Cleveland squad who's got a losing record against the point spread in their out-of-conference road games. And a lot of that is due to some poor offensive production. The Cavs are a bottom 5 point producing team on the road in the East. Karis LeVert shooting just 40% from the field, 31% shooting from three-land. Meanwhile, Max Strus makes only 42% of his field goals. And a lot of that hurts these guys late in games. I feel like the back door is going to be open. Cleveland's in the bottom 5 of the East in second half scoring. And when it comes to the injury list, Wade and Okoro are questionable. Jerome's still out. Meanwhile, for Utah, Clarkson, Markkanen, and Collins are questionable for them. Why you're seeing such a high number at the moment. And when it comes to the total, Utah saw overs recently against the likes of Sacramento, San Antonio, and Houston. Meanwhile, Cleveland saw their last 5 straight all get over the total themselves. Overs against the likes of Denver, Philadelphia, and Charlotte. Give me the Jazz plus 13, keeping that one close. Over 217. Next game, Spurs, Nuggets, 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Denver's minus 16, totals 223.5. And the Nuggets should run these guys out of the building here tonight. They're 30-8 this year in the Ball Arena, and they now have a winning record against the point spread at home. Nikola Jokic averages a team-best 26 points a game. Michael Porter Jr. is also drilling 40% of his 3 balls. And it should come as no surprise, the Nuggets rarely miss in the Ball Arena. They're in the top 3 in the West in field goal percentage at home. But I think what goes grossly overlooked is their defensive effort. The Nuggets allow fewer made 3-pointers a game than any other roster besides one. And you really can't score against these guys late. Denver's in the top 5 in the West in second half points allowed. And that's certainly bad news for a San Antonio squad who struggles with the ball in their hands. They're a bottom 3 shooting team from beyond the arc. And out of 37 road trips this year, the Spurs have yet to reach double-digit wins. They're just 8-29 this season in their travels. Now, when it comes to defensive play, they are allowing more field goals a game than any other roster except for one. I'm sure Jokic should have a good game here tonight. Now, injury-wise, Murray and Nagy are questionable again. Johnson day-to-day for San Antonio. When it comes to the total, the Spurs saw unders recently against the likes of the Suns, Grizzlies, and Mavericks. Meanwhile, Denver's gone 63% to the under against the Western Conference at home. Give me the Nuggets minus 16, under 223.5. All right, next game, Mavericks-Warriors, 10 o'clock Eastern start time. Golden State's minus 1.5, totals 231. And unfortunately, folks, I cannot give you a freebie on this game. It is being featured as a premium selection on my site. I apologize about that. Got to do a better job. No free pick. And with that, we're going to jump into our next and final breakdown for the video, although we got a bunch of quick picks for you. Clippers-Kings, 10 o'clock Eastern start time. The LA Clippers are minus 2, totals 222. And speaking of that total, the Clippers saw overs recently against the likes of the Hornets, Sixers, and Pacers. They're also 7-3 to the over in their last 10. Now, the Kings saw overs recently against the likes of Utah and Memphis. And when it comes to selecting a winner, I apologize. Back-to-back games here. This matchup is being featured as my board member tier package pick on my premium site. I would love to give you a freebie, but I can't. I'm sorry about that. I've got to do a better job. But as far as making a free play is concerned, give me the over 222. And with that, folks, we're going to dive into our quick pick recap, starting in Major League Baseball. Give me the Brewers minus $110, over 8.5. Baltimore minus 165, under 8.5. I'm once again 4-0. My last 4 underdog tier membership picks on my premium site. Cincinnati Reds plus $1.25 over 8.5. Angels plus $1.30 under 8.5 runs. Rangers plus 1.5 over 8.5. Tigers plus $1.15 under 8. Braves minus 1.5 over 9. Cubs minus $1.80 over 7.5. Blue Jays plus 1.5 over 8.5. Red Sox minus 155 under 8. Cleveland plus 105 under 7. I have no free pick available for you in the Yankees D-backs game. Sorry about that. Got to do a better job. St. Louis plus $1.20 under 7.5. Dodgers minus 135 over 8.5 runs. NBA, Toronto Raptors plus 12 over 232. Bucks minus 12.5 over 228.5. Knicks plus 3 under 207.5. Thunder minus 5 under 224. T-Wolves minus 7.5 over 215. Jazz plus 13 over 217. Nuggets minus 16 under 223.5. No free pick available for you in the Mavs-Warriors game. Sorry about that. And the over 222 in the Clippers-Kings game. All right, NHL. We don't have any premium selections in the NHL, but we'll give you some freebies here today. The entire slate. Florida Panthers minus 1.5 over 6. Pittsburgh plus 1.5 over 6.5 goals. Sabres minus $1.30 under 6. Islanders minus 1.5 over 5.5 goals. Bruins minus $1.15 under 5.5. Senators plus 1.5 over 6. Calgary Flames minus 1.5 over 6 goals. Give me the Canucks plus $1.10 under 5.5. And 2 more freebies for you in the NIT tournament. I'm talking about men's college basketball. Utah running Utes plus 4 over 162.5. And Seton Hall minus 3 under 145. And I don't have any premium selections for you in college basketball. We're doing the real stuff, not the NIT. So we'll have some premium college basketball picks once the normal tournament starts again over the weekend. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my premium site. And just a friendly reminder, if you do end up signing up for a membership, you're going to get access to that package every single day for the next 30 days. As an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. That's why I tell folks that Chairman Package, it's a full access, all-inclusive membership. Gives you access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you also get access to my Chairman podcast absolutely free. It's included with your purchase. But most importantly, folks, got to thank you for joining me right here on the free video. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, folks, happy Tuesday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my premium site at patreon.com/BrockPage.